Hello, I'm glad you're here, and I hope you're ready for some puppy drawings because I sure am. But before we do that, I need to clear and clean my desk. I've been putting it off this week because I'm going on a trip tomorrow, and I needed to get my work done earlier than usual. Actually, for you, the trip started yesterday. That's weird how that works, right? I feel like a time traveler. Technically, you're a time traveler too, because you can go back in time or fast forward through this video. But for the present time that I'm in, my desk is getting so cluttered that I'm running out of space to move my mouse. That being said, in the past I've put cleaning above productive artwork because I really enjoy it and find it relaxing. So it sounds kind of funny, but I'm actually a little proud of myself for getting as much work done as I could, to the point of having a messy workspace today. It shows that I've been able to keep my priorities straight this week. So that's the workspace done. I feel like the process of making art is a lot more enjoyable when my workspace is really clean, but it's not a necessity. Anyway, we're getting started with our first drawing. This was actually a drawing I haven't really gotten to show or talk about for a while on YouTube, but I made it a couple months ago, and it's a portrait of my dog Waffles. He's a very silly golden retriever puppy. I don't know if any of you have had puppies before, so I don't know if you can relate to this, but yeah, he just wants to put his mouth on everything. I think it's also a golden retriever thing. We really lucked out there. Honestly, the older he's gotten, even though he's gotten only stronger, I feel like he's been a little easier to handle because he wants to please me and he's learning the rules better. So, before he would just do whatever and then face the consequences later. And now he's just a sweet, cuddly guy. But yeah, anyway, I really liked how this piece kind of captured the texture of his paws. That's something that's super specific. I feel like Waffles' paws are really tough, like tougher than the other dogs that I've owned before. Granted, I've only ever owned small dogs before him, so maybe that's why. But they went on a lot of walks, a lot more than Waffles does. So I don't know what's up with that. But he has really, really leathery, rough paws, and it's a very specific texture that's kind of painful if you already have dry hands like I do. Um, but it's his little feet, and I love his feet. So I really wanted to capture that, and I feel like I did a good job. The rest of him looks pretty soft and silky, and that's how it is in real life. He's so soft until he gets excited, and then he puts his paws and his teeth on you, and it's just not comfortable. But that's okay, we love him. Okay, moving on to painting number 2. I drew him for a sketchbook spread a little while ago. It was actually featured in my last video. I wanted to see if I can enlarge this little sketch that I made of him where the camera is kind of distorted and his nose looks really, really big. Now, when I blow up the original drawing to a bigger size, it becomes kind of low res because it was drawn so small in the beginning, which is why I kind of need to draw over it, which is too bad. I really like the charm in the original. When I tried drawing over it in the same style, like a more realistic style, it just didn't click. I don't know. There was something about it. I essentially put a layer of tracing paper over it by filling a layer with white and then lowering its opacity on top of everything. And then I drew over that with a couple different styles just to kind of experiment and look around and, see what kind of specifics I wanted to keep. I know that his eyes were going to be really important to me, so I tried out those styles specifically on his eyes until I came up with something that I felt kind of got his personality. I feel like this last version of his expression really captures the way that he looks at you. Like when you tell him not to chew on a piece of leaf or a rock or something, he's just like, what? And then when it came to colors, I wanted to make sure that this piece had more poppy colors because he's a baby and I kind of want that to show through with these playful, fun colors. And then this was also a really good exercise in just trying to push myself to keep going when I felt like a drawing was technically done, but it could be pushed further. Most recently, I've been having the most success with just trying to fill spaces because it's easy to just kind of leave a drawing when you think it's done, but it has a lot of empty space. Whereas when you look at a piece of merchandise, typically every inch of it has been really thought out and planned out and filled in, so it feels full, for lack of a better term. I don't know, that's just something that I've noticed recently. Obviously, I still think that it's a good thing to keep areas of rest for the eye. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that, but in general, it's a good idea to see if you can push yourself further and maybe add some more polish than you originally thought. And that's what really helped me out here. I was able to add a lot more texture than I thought I would, and even a little bit of reflected light, which is not something that I thought I'd be able to do with this really simplified art style. But again, you can kind of see it done really well with art styles like, I don't know, like Pokemon, where it's very cutesy, but they really do take light into account and volume. I'm pretty happy with the level of finish that I got to in both of them. I mean, they're just for fun, but at the same time, they're good enough to where I feel really good about making them my Patreon rewards for this month. So I was able to turn the first one into a postcard design and then the second one into a sticker design. They're still on their way. I have a bad habit of waiting until the middle of the month to order them, and then they take like 2 weeks to get here. So they're always technically like 2 days late, but I'm really trying to get back on the ball with that. Honestly, as long as the art is good and I feel really good about putting it out and, people paying for it, then I think that matters the most to me. Like, I want to be on time with everything, but I would rather be a couple days late and release something that I really, really stand behind rather than right on time with a piece that I genuinely don't like. There are times where I know that I want to improve and I can see my weaknesses, but at the same time, every single month, like I try to paint something that has a lot of heart to it, some sort of personal meaning or at least something really pretty to look at. That's kind of my philosophy. I'm always trying to get faster, but quality before quantity, in my opinion. So, yeah, I think this is where I'm obligated to shamelessly plug my Patreon. If you would like either of these or both of them, I have options for anything your heart desires. You can find me at melmel.cascas on Patreon and anywhere else as well. I'm on Blue Sky now. Isn't that crazy? I've been talking about Blue Sky for the last several videos, and I finally bit the bullet. Anyway, the real life Waffles needs to go outside, asking very politely if I'll go with him, so I simply must oblige. I really hope you enjoyed this more chill, laid back style of draw with me. I'll see you next week. Bye!